Thanks for tuning in to Steel City Football, the 4-1-2. It's a great day to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Let's jump right in. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, they lose to the Green Bay Packers on Sunday Night Football, 35-25. And even though it was only a 10-point game, I just feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers absolutely got mauled and manhandled by the Green Bay Packers. Let's start with the defense for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The missed tackles. We could not get any pressure on the quarterback whatsoever. You know, the Sunday Night Football put up a stat that Jordan Love was getting rid of the football between 1.2 and 1.7 seconds every time he touched the ball or made a pass, I should say. And here's the problem I have with that stat. If you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, if you're Mike Tomlin, if you're Coach Tomlin, you're Coach Austin, and you see that as soon as the ball is snapped, Jordan Love's getting rid of the football, why do we still have defensive backs in off coverage? Why do we still have defensive backs 3 to 5 to 6 yards off the line of scrimmage? Why would you do that? Well, every defensive back, anybody that's on a wide receiver at that point, or a tight end, or whoever is on the line of scrimmage, we should have been in press coverage the whole time. Now, do I think the Steelers have the ability to play man coverage? No, I don't. But if they spread you wide and you're forced to, wouldn't you rather lose being aggressive than sitting back on your heels 3 to 6 yards off the ball and getting eaten alive the entire night by the Green Bay Packers passing offense? At one point, Jordan Love had 20 completions in a row. 20 completions in a row. And what did the Pittsburgh Steelers do? What did Coach Tomlin do? What did Coach Austin do to slow this down? They did nothing. They didn't change anything. The tight end for the Green Bay Packers, Tucker Kraft, 7 receptions, 143 yards. He averaged 20 yards a catch and 2 touchdowns. His long catch of the night was 59 yards. I mean, when you watch that game and you watch this Tucker Kraft and that moon ball that Jordan Love just threw up into the air, and it comes down and Tucker Kraft catches the ball and Deshaun Elliott's there, and there's another defensive back there by the Steelers. It looked like Pop Warner football. It looked like little kids playing Pop Warner where they don't know how to play the ball in the air and they fall down and the guy catches it and he runs and everybody's laughing. It was embarrassing. What I saw last night by the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, the coverage, the tackling was absolutely atrocious. I mean, before Deshaun Elliott goes down with an injury, they couldn't tackle anybody. Jalen Ramsey was a little bit better in tackling than the rest of the group. But nobody wanted to tackle on the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Then you have Cam Hayward. He comes out today and he says something like, the defense, they can't give up. They need to fight when things aren't going right. This is the way this game is. If your captain is saying that, obviously he has some insight to what's going on in the locker room. The defense doesn't believe in Coach Tomlin or Coach Austin or the scheme. That's what's going on. They don't believe in the scheme. They don't believe in the coaching style. They don't believe that they can do it. Why would they be quitting? They didn't get blown out of the game. 7-3 first quarter. Steelers are losing 7-3. Second quarter, Steelers score 13 points. Packers scored nothing. Steelers are up at the half, 16-7. Third quarter, Packers score 7, Steelers score 3. Fourth quarter, this is where it all just fell apart. So up into the fourth quarter, the Pittsburgh Steelers were in the game. Why would they feel like they have no chance to win the game? Why would it just fall apart? Because they have no faith in what they're doing as a defense. They don't have faith in the scheme. They don't have faith in Coach Tomlin. They don't have faith in Coach Austin. Because why would they quit so soon? I mean, Nick Herbig, the stupid penalty when Ben Skowronek got pancaked into the ground, and he does, on the kick return, it was just stupid. Then DK Metcalf, another penalty, instead of it being 3rd and 1, he pushed him back 15 yards. At that point, the Steelers, I think, were only down 3 or 7. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The game is not over till it's over. Whether they were down 3, 7, 2, 1, 10, 20, that's called being a professional athlete. It's never over till it's over. The penalty by Nick Herbig and And DK Metcalf, it was just I mean, it couldn't have came at a worse time. Everybody's talking about Aaron Rodgers, the free play that he should have got where the referees didn't call the encroachment on the defense of the free play. And I get it. You know, these referees, they call penalties on every play, but somehow, some way, they didn't see that one. Go figure. I mean, is this fixable? Let me know in the comment section. Do you think this is fixable? I don't see how anything changes. I really don't. I don't see how you miraculously get better from this when you're the worst defense in the NFL. Does Beanie Bishop need to be on the field? You need to ask yourself that. The Steelers, we didn't have a sack last night. We didn't have a forced fumble. We didn't have an interception. We hit the quarterback 5 or 6 times. Beanie Bishop in 2024 led the Steelers in interceptions. I don't want to hear about the man's size. I don't want to hear, I don't want to get too far off topic with the Beanie Bishop situation. But I remember last year when Beanie played in the Cowboys game, and I was at the game, and he was covering the back out of the backfield. The back ran a wheel route, and he caught the pass downfield for like a 17-yard gain. And from that moment on, it's like all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, Beanie Bishop can't play. He was step for step with the back out of the backfield. I was there. I watched it. The back just made the play. Dak Prescott made the play. It doesn't mean the man can't play. I just don't get it. So what's going to happen the rest of the year, Coach Tomlin? What's going to happen? Darius Slay can't cover anybody. He can't tackle. He can't cover. He can't run. We have a younger guy in Beanie Bishop on the bench, on the practice squad because Brandon Echols took his spot. Brandon Echols and Beanie Bishop need to see the field more. I mean, look, hey, we could do the same thing every week. We could leave Jalen Ramsey in there. We can leave Darius Slay in there. We can leave Juan Thornhill in there. And we're going to get the same results week in and week out. So at this point, what do you got to lose if you need to change something? Things don't change if things don't change. Nothing changes unless you change it. So do you think Coach Tomlin's going to? I don't think he's going to change anything. I absolutely feel like he's not going to change anything. Nothing will be changed. The schemes won't be changed. The players won't be changed. And it'll be the same old result. Patrick Queen, another poor night for Patrick Queen. Can't tackle. I mean, your inside linebacker that can't tackle, one of the biggest free agent contracts in the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's just amazing what this team has turned into. Remember one thing about Patrick Queen. The Baltimore Ravens, when his contract was up, Patrick Queen's contract was up, the Baltimore Ravens let him walk out the door. They didn't even try to negotiate with him. They didn't even sit down and say, hey, yeah, they didn't lowball him. Nothing. They just said, bye, contract up. See you later, buddy. No problem, pal. What does Coach Tomlin do? He runs out and gives them huge money. Humongous money. I want to ask you guys, has it worked out? Is Patrick Queen worth that big money? I don't see it. I don't see it at all. But I guess at this point, he's the best guy that we have on the roster. Who's going to replace him? I mean, you could put Cole Holcomb in there. Peyton Wilson had a couple tackles. He was, I don't know what to make of any of this. I really don't. I don't know how this is fixable. Jabril Peppers, the Jabril Peppers situation, you're going to be like, oh, you're talking about a Pro Football Focus grade. You sound like an idiot. But guess what? I haven't seen the man play. Pittsburgh Steelers signed him. Juan Thornhill is not playing well. Chuck Clark is not playing well. So Jabril Peppers, when he played against the Patriots, he played pretty good. He wasn't bad against the New England Patriots. Things need to change. It needs to change. Brandon Echols needs to get on the field. Beanie Bishop needs to get on the field. Jabril Peppers needs to get on the field. Jabril Peppers, before he got traded to the Steelers, his PFF grade had him as a top 3 safety in the National Football League. So what? It's like, what has to go on for Coach Tomlin to say, I'm going to change the personnel? I don't even know what to say at this point. It just looks bad. Got the Colts coming to town. I think the Colts are 5-1, 6-1. what the hell's the difference? They're playing excellent football, and that tailback Taylor, if the Pittsburgh Steelers don't get it together, he could run for over 300 yards against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the Steelers did play the run pretty good last night. They only gave up, they gave up a total of 94 yards to the Packers. I mean, Emmanuel Wilson averaged 5.5 yards a carry, 11 carries for 61. Hey, I mean, they gashed the Steelers. You know, it's not the typical 115 yards that the Steelers give up. It wasn't over the top rushing against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. But Tucker Kraft absolutely torched the Pittsburgh Steelers. The tight end for the Green Bay Packers had 7 receptions, 143 yards. He averaged 20 yards a catch and 2 touchdowns, and he had a long catch of 59 yards. I was really embarrassed last night watching this game. I mean, that was downright embarrassing. And then you know, Tucker Kraft has all these catches, and then there's certain points in the game he's still wide open. You're saying to yourself, how is this tight end still wide open after gashing the Steelers all night long, and he just seems to be wide open? I mean, Hunter Henry on the Jets also, he had a big day. It seems like the Pittsburgh Steelers don't cover tight ends. Like, oh, no, we're too busy, man. We got things to do. Oh, the tight end, we don't worry about him. We just worry about receivers and running backs. Nah, tight ends, they can do whatever they want. Because how do you explain this? It's 7 receptions for 143 yards, and he averages 20 yards a catch. Steelers are in deep trouble. Pittsburgh Steelers are in absolutely deep trouble. At one point, again, Jordan Love had 20 completions in a row. 20 completions in a row Jordan Love had. And the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't change anything. Jordan Love was 29 for 37, 360 yards. He averaged 9.7 yards a pass, 3 touchdowns, no picks. The Steelers don't pick off. The Steelers defensive backs, we don't intercept balls anymore. What's an interception? Do you even remember what an interception is as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan? Because I don't. When's the last time we seen a forced fumble? I mean, against the Patriots. When the Steelers play the Patriots, it's mind-blowing to me that the Patriots have a good record, because when I've seen them against the Steelers, like, they're horrible. And that win really got me depressed. Even though we won the game, I was like, man, we're really bad. You know, the Patriots that day were horrible. And you're like, oh, you shouldn't say that. It was a win. And a win is a win, I'll give you that. But I walked away from the Patriots game honestly saying to myself, we are bad. The Pittsburgh Steelers are a bad football team. Now, Aaron Rodgers, I don't want to hear anybody blame Aaron Rodgers for this loss. I mean, he is doing everything humanly possible to win these games for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if it wasn't for Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if we would have won one game this year. He's putting the team on his back. He's 24 for 36, 219 yards. He averaged 6.1 yards a pass, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, what more can you ask for? We finally have a quarterback that takes control of the offense, takes control of the field, and the defense is nowhere to be effing found. Nick Herbig is statistically our best pass rusher right now. He's our fastest pass rusher. He only played 20 snaps last night. So hold on, put it in pause. So let me get this straight. Jordan Love is getting the ball out of his hands in record time, a second to like a second and a half, 1.2, 1.4. Nick Herbig is your fastest, most explosive pass rusher speed-wise. And Nick Herbig only plays 20 plays. And TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith get most of the reps. And Nick Herbig is on the bench. Like, I just don't get it. At a certain point, when you're getting eaten to pieces, and you see Alex Highsmith, they're not going to take TJ Watt off the field unless it's for a breather. But you see Alex Highsmith, he's got a bull rush. And if the bull rush doesn't work and the second effort doesn't work, he pretty much doesn't get to the quarterback. So why isn't Nick Herbig in the game? The Pittsburgh Steelers absolutely know that Jordan Love is getting the ball out of his hands like this. So why is Nick Herbig not in the game? Oh, you're playing Monday morning quarterback. No, I'm playing common sense. It's common sense. You know what else is common sense? That if the Green Bay Packers are getting the ball out that fast, that you have to play in press coverage. Because if the ball's coming out in 1 second, that means all the defensive backs or anybody on the line of scrimmage has to do to a receiver is get their hand on them for 1 second, and it disrupts the pass. And it gives your pass rush time to sack the quarterback because now the routes are interrupted. But no, we didn't do that. We still had defensive backs 3 yards off the ball, 6 yards off the ball. Sometimes we're playing, zone coverage, whatever the hell it is we're doing. And you're going to say, oh, well, in another video, you said we're not good enough to play man. Yeah, I agree. We're not good enough to play man at all. But let me ask you a question. How would you rather lose? If you're going to lose, how would you rather lose? I know I'd rather lose being aggressive than being passive and being on my heels. And if I knew the ball's coming out in 1 second every single play for Jordan Love, guess what? My entire defense, when they're covering somebody on the line of scrimmage, will be in press coverage. And if we get beat deep, so be it. Oh no, so we'll just get gashed down the field the entire night. Kill me slowly. Thank you for killing me slowly. It's just, we are a disaster right now. Absolute disaster. Jaylen Warren had a decent night, 13 carries, 62 yards. He averaged 4.8 yards a carry. After the halftime, seems like the Steelers gave up on the run for some reason. No clue why. Roman Wilson showed up again, 4 receptions, 74 yards. Had a touchdown, long catch at 45 yards, averaged 18 yards a catch. Roman Wilson doesn't get as many snaps as Calvin Austin, but it seems like Roman Wilson needs to see the field more. DK Metcalf, he had 5 receptions, 55 yards, and a touchdown. Stupid penalty late in the game. Absolutely killed the Pittsburgh Steelers. And even after that penalty, there was still time left on the clock where you felt like, okay, we still got a chance. There still is some time. All somebody has to do is make a play. And it just seemed like, you know what? It seemed like there were 6 minutes left in the game and the Pittsburgh Steelers showed no sense of urgency to win the game. That's how it came across to me. That's my opinion. It just felt like there was no urgency. We're out of it. And again, they only lost the game by 10 points. So at certain points, they're only down by 3. They're only down by 7. They didn't get blown out of the game. So at no point in this football game should anybody ever say, oh, it's so far out of reach, we're done, I'm quitting. But that's what it seemed like. And to me, that reflects the coaching. To me, that seems like, yeah, you have to put it on the players, like they're professionals and they need to be professionals. But what brings that attitude out of somebody? What brings that type of attitude? It's like, you know what, F it. Same old Tomlin. Nothing, we're going to lose. That is like, to me, when players mentally cave like that at this level, to me, it's like it's a reflection of the coach, how they feel about the coaching and the coaching staff and the coaching style. Like, oh, it's pointless, F it, I'm not giving up. I don't want to talk about Tom Brady and the Patriots, but look at the Super Bowl with Tom and the Atlanta Falcons. We saw what never giving up does, and Cam Hayward came out today and talked about it. We got to fight harder. Guys quit after penalties. We got major problems. Pittsburgh Steelers have major problems. We hit Jordan Love. TJ Watt hit him once. Alex Highsmith hit him once. Patrick Queen hit him once. Nick Herbig hit him once. Y.A. Black hit it 5 times. 1 batted ball. 1 tackle for a loss. No sacks. Just atrocious. I mean, this Pittsburgh Steelers were as bad as it gets. Chris Boswell is an absolute terminator for the Pittsburgh Steelers. 4 for 4 on field goals. His longest kick of the night was 56 yards. He scored 13 points for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Chris Boswell has, when you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, here are the best players. It starts with Aaron Rodgers, because without your quarterback, you can't do nothing. So Aaron Rodgers is our 42-year-old quarterback, and he's playing better than anybody on the team. Jaylen Warren, obviously, is having a good season. No, I mean, it's not like over the top, but he's having a good year. He's running the ball super tough. And Chris Boswell. Other than that, the Pittsburgh Steelers have nobody. You know, the offensive line has improved. If you look at the sacks last night by Micah Parsons, it wasn't from the offensive tackles. It wasn't from Troy Fontanu or Broderick Jones. Micah Parsons was lining up on the inside and running over Mason McCormick and Zach Frazier straight up the middle, bringing pressure, bringing heat, and he was all over Aaron Rodgers all night. So it wasn't our offensive tackles who couldn't anchor the line against the Green Bay Packers pass rush. The Green Bay Packers mixed it up with Micah Parsons, and he was blitzing like a linebacker on the inside of the field. And, you know, Zach Frazier and Mason McCormick had their hands absolutely full, and it seemed like they couldn't get the job done. Penalties, missed tackles, lack of effort, lack of physicality. And then you have Cam Hayward today come out and say, you know, we need to fight. We need to stop quitting and fight the entire game. Not a good sign at all. It's really concerning. Really is. And I just don't see how anything changes. We know personnel's not going to change. So I'm at a loss for words. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers have a tough matchup coming up next Sunday at Acrisure Stadium, 1 o'clock, against the Indianapolis Colts, and it only gets tougher after that. And with that being said, thanks for tuning in to Steel City Football, the 4-1-2.